My name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today we are beginning a very ambitious project. So, the Goodreads Choice Award nominees for 2022 just came out a couple days ago, and I have decided that I'm going to attempt to read all of the nominees before the winner is announced on December 8th. So I should have calculated how many days. I have 20 days to read potentially 16 books, between 10 and 16 books. I'll just explain what I'm going to do about the opening round. I'm going to start now because I can't read 10 books in like 2 weeks. I need to start now. But once the opening round finishes and the top 10 are announced, if there are any of those 6 that are eliminated that I haven't yet read, I just won't read them. But I'm starting with whatever's available. The part of this, so I have to read 16 books in 20 days while being in grad school and working and everything. But the part that's actually hardest is that I'm trying to do this without spending any money. So the past couple days, I have been like frantically, I have 3 libraries on Libby, and I've been like checking all 3 of them for everything. I've been at my physical library, and I got a free trial of Scribd, and I am going to get a free trial of Kindle Unlimited. And I currently have access to 12, or will soon have access because they're in transit from other libraries, 12 of the 16 books. The last 4, I'm not going to purchase all, well, I guess I'm in too deep now. Hopefully the holds will come in. There's one that I'm really worried about because the physical I think most of them I'm going to end up having physically because that's where the shortest hold is from my physical library. There's one where there's a lot of holds. I think it's the Richard Osman. I'll tell you what all the nominees are in a second. That one I may end up purchasing, but I'm really going to try not to spend any money because I'm broke. So that's what's challenging about this. 16 books potentially in 20 days, and also getting all of these 2022 releases for free. Wait, that's a lie. 16 books in 20 days is a lie because I've already read 3 of them. So it would only be 13 books in 20 days. Actually, now I'm confused. Oh, there's 20 books in the opening round. That'll do it. I thought there were 16. Okay. Me being a mess. There are 20 books in the opening round. I've read 3 of them. So there's 17 that I haven't read. I have access to 12. That means there's 5 that I don't have access to. That makes a lot of sense. I think those numbers are right. Anyway, I'm going to start the first one today. I haven't decided which one's going to be the first one I'm going to start yet because I have access to several of them. I'm going to start an audiobook. But let me introduce you to the nominees. Starting with The Night Shift by Alex Finley. This is one of the ones that I have access to on audio already, so I might end up reading that one first. We'll see. I don't know what any of these really are about. I'll tell you when I start to read them. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley is one of the ones I've already read. I gave it 2.5 stars. I definitely talked about it in a wrap-up. I'll try to figure out which one and link it because I don't feel like talking to you about it again, but I didn't like it. This one was not good. Jackal by Aaron E. Adams is one that I do not have access to yet, I think. Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. I don't know. I can't remember which ones I have access to and which ones I don't, honestly. More Than You'll Ever Know by Katie Gutierrez. All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James I read really recently. And did I read it this month? Is it in a wrap-up yet? Okay, so I just filmed my November wrap-up, and this book, The Book of Cold Cases, was in that wrap-up, but I decided to talk about it in this video instead of that one because I don't know which one is coming out first. So, The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, and I gave this 3.5 stars. I thought it was pretty okay, like there definitely were weaknesses. There was some like horror-y stuff that like went down, like ghosty stuff, and I thought that was kind of weird. Like, I don't know, I think maybe it might have been better without that. I thought it kind of detracted from what was going on in the mystery plot line, but I don't know. I think it wrapped up interestingly. Yeah, I thought this one was pretty good. 3.5 stars. Richard Osman, The Bullet That Missed. This is book 2 in the Thursday Murder Club series. I did read the Thursday Murder Club. I liked it quite well. I can't remember what I gave it, but I did like it. This is the one that I really don't know. I might end up having to buy. Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This one's on Script, so I have a free trial. Ruth Ware, The It Girl. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkopf. The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Rayburn. This one is also like large hold, so I'm hoping I don't have to buy it. The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum. I don't know what any of these are about, but I'm excited for that one because I used to play the violin. A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell, which is the sequel to The Family Upstairs, which I read and loved. I think it actually may have even made it into my top books of 2021, possibly. Like, I think it was a 4.5 or a 5 star. The Maid by Nita Prose, I have read, and that's the one. So I did vote in the opening round already because I'm not going to be able to read all of them by the time the opening round is over, and I voted for The Maid because I gave that, I think, 4.5 stars. I thought it was really good. Again, I'll link whatever wrap-up I talked about it in. And the last one is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, which I actually have been wanting to read and have had on hold on Libby for a while. I think there's still 4 or 5 weeks out, so I hope I don't have 4 or 5 weeks, so I hope it comes in faster. I think the physical hold is going to come in faster, maybe. And those are all the books. That was like whirlwind tour of all the books. Maybe I put the covers on the screen, maybe I didn't bother. But yeah, that's the plan. This is all I'm going to read for the next 20 days, pretty much, except for what's in progress already. And I'm going to start one of them. There'll be chapters in this video so that, because it's probably going to end up being long, so that you can skip to whatever one you're interested in. You can also skip to the wrap up at the end where I just will give you my ratings for all of them and my rankings and react to the winner. I won't be offended if you skip through this video because long videos are long. It is very cold in my house, so I have a blanket. It's also, speaking of blankets, I've been doing my genre blanket. I wasn't sure whether I would need more of my dark blue mystery thriller color, but I got some more anyway, and now I'm so glad I did because I'm gonna have like 15 more mystery thriller rows to do, so that's just gonna be very heavy on the end of the year end of the blanket. But yeah, I'm going to start one of them. Maybe I'll say I am going to start the night shift. Okay, I'm going to start the night shift, and I will check in with you once I have a handle of what's going on in that book and how I feel about it. So it is later that same day, and I am at 38% of the night shift, and I do not like it. Let me give you a synopsis. Basically, in 1999, at a Blockbuster during the night shift, a man or someone killed some people and left one survivor. And in the same town in, I think it's 2016, present day, an ice cream store had a similar crime in the same town. One survivor and some teens that were working there were murdered. And we're following the survivor of the Blockbuster crime, who is now a therapist. We're following an FBI agent who's like working to connect the crimes. We're following the brother of the guy who was the main suspect in the Blockbuster crime and like was acquitted because of like insufficient evidence, and then he disappeared and no one knows where he is. So we've got those perspectives. There's 3 narrators. I'm listening to the audiobook. The narrator for the FBI agent is so obnoxious. I like literally cannot stand her, and I cannot stand the writing. It's just not very good. I hate every single character, but like not in a good way. And there was this scene with I guess it's not a spoiler, I can tell you. There was this scene with a teen with autism who was like tangentially related to the plot, and it was the FBI agent was so condescending to him, and the narration did not help. Like it was, and we're supposed to like her, and it just was like terrible. And I don't know, it's clearly written by a man, and actually I assume Alex, I think the name is Alex, I assume it's a man because it reads very much written like a man. I guess Alex Finley could be a woman or non-binary individual, but I I think I'm going to Google, and I bet they're a man. Yeah, I'm not loving it. And yeah, that's my update. I just finished The Night Shift, and I gotta say, that was the stupidest book I've ever read. It was really, really bad. I told you I wasn't liking it earlier, because I wasn't. And I did read it all in one day. Like, I sat and listened to it all day today. It was intriguing. I wanted to know what was going to happen. I wanted to know, like, what really happened with these crimes. That is the only good thing I can say about it. Also, one of the narrators was really, really annoying, and that definitely didn't help my enjoyment, and that's not, like, Alex, whatever his name is, fault. Actually, I didn't Google to see if it's a man. I'm pretty sure it's a man, but we're going to Google. Yep, that's a white man. That's a white man. I'm not surprised. I'm very much not surprised that that's a white man. Suspicions confirmed. But he really wrote about teenage girls like they were a different species and like an inferior species. I told you about the thing with the disabled kid. There was another really, really awful moment that was just like an offhand comment, and I'm not going to repeat it, but if you want to know, message me or like comment and I'll tell you. It was bad. And then besides the problematic elements and the fact that it like all just reeked of sexism, the ending was really bad. Like, it was just stupid. It was stupid. I'm giving it 1 star. So, any of the other books, like, we're off to a banging start. If any of the other books are worse than this, I will be surprised, but Goodreads Choice Awards are not known for quality. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I have several borrowed on audio and several that are in at the library physically, so I have options, but I will check in with you once I've started another one. This one was bad, though. Very bad. Okay, so I started The Overnight Guest next by Heather... This person. And I'm at about 40%, and I'm really liking it so far. It's like the classic thriller structure of like crime happened in the past and true crime journalist is studying it in the present day. But it's more complicated than that because, and you follow those both of those timelines. So in the past, we've got this family who is in this like really small, remote, basically farm town, not even town. There's just like these farmhouses. And in the past, we have this family, parents and 2 kids, and the boy and a girl, older boy, who's like kind of troubled teen. And then we have the sister who has her best friend over for a sleepover. And I'm not going to tell you what happens to them, but you know that something bad happens to them. And then in the present day, we've got Wiley, who is a woman who is writing a book about this case that happened with the family. And she's staying in that farmhouse where it happened in the dead of winter in a snowstorm. And she like was supposed to only be there for a week, but she's been out there for 6 weeks working on her book because like she's like in the middle of a divorce. Anyway, she's writing a book about the case in the dead of winter in the middle of this winter storm where her phone doesn't work and she's like, trapped. And she finds this little boy outside in the storm by himself, like almost dead. And she brings him in and warms him up and makes him... And he's alive. And so it's her and this little boy in the present day, the family in the past. And then we have one more timeline perspective story, which I really have no idea who these people are. They don't even have names or how this fits in. But we've got a young girl and her parents, her abusive father and her mother. And it seems like they live in like a 1-room farmhouse. And yeah, we just occasionally cut to them. The father's abusive, the mother is pregnant, and there's this little girl. And that's what we've got. So I'm definitely like intrigued to see how that third storyline fits in. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with the little boy. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with the crime in the past that clearly hasn't been solved because she's writing a book about it and it's a cold case. So yeah, it's really good so far. I think the writing is really good. The narrator is Brittany Presley, who was one of the narrators from the Night Shift, the one that I liked. And she also narrated the Book of Cold Cases. So common thriller narrator. I think she's going to narrate more on this list as well. And she's doing a really good job. I think she's a good narrator. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm going to keep reading. And I will check in with you probably when I'm done, unless I have something fascinating to say. But this is going really well. I'm liking it so far. Okay, so sorry if you can hear the dishwasher in the background, but also it's the next day. This is day 3 of this vlog, and it's going to look like I haven't moved or changed. And that's only kind of true. I have pretty much not moved from this couch in 3 days, but that's fine. I've just been reading, which is fine. I'm happy with that. And I have changed my clothes. I just have been putting this sweater on every day because it's nice and warm and it's cold in this house. Now that that's out of the way, last night I finished The Overnight Guest by Heather Ludenkauf, I think is her name. Gudenkauf, I think. I don't know. Heather. I finished that book. And until 75%, I was really liking it. I thought it was really good for the most part until about 75%. And then the ending, I just didn't like. I don't know. There were multiple twists at the end that I didn't like. And I don't know. I didn't really like the way it played out. I feel like I just said the same thing in multiple times, but I didn't love the ending. So I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It was fine. 3.5 stars. I thought I would give you an update because I've read 5 now because I read 3 before this video. That was my second one finished. I'm going to give you a ranking and then I'll update this ranking when I finish each one. So in 5th place so far, we have The Night Shift by Alex Finley. That was a 1 star. Then we have The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. That was a 2.5 star. Then we have The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkauf, which was 3.5 stars. Then we have The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, which was also 3.5 stars, but I think slightly higher. And then in 1st place so far, we have The Maid by Nita Prose, which was a 4.5 star. I did start A Flicker in the Dark last night by, I can't remember, but I don't feel like I'm far enough in to let you know what's going on. So I will check back in, probably looking exactly the same in this exact spot in this exact sweater, whether it's today or tomorrow or whatever. I will check in and tell you what it's about in a little bit. Hello. So it is, what day is it? Wednesday. Hopefully Pumpkin's rubbing against the mic isn't too loud. I'm at about 75% of A Flicker in the Dark. And I haven't told you what it's about yet. So this is by Stacey Willingham, I think. And basically the premise is that we've got this lady, Chloe. She's a psychologist and she's engaged to be married to this guy who's like a big pharma sales rep or something. Gross. And 20 years ago, Chloe's dad murdered a bunch of girls, like 6 teenage girls, all over one summer. And Chloe like kind of caught him, or like found the evidence that led to his conviction, or led to the police realizing it was him. And so there's like trauma there and whatever. And then now in the present day, a couple girls have started to go missing and Chloe's like freaking out because she thinks it's connected. That's the premise. I am very up and down on this one so far. Like there definitely are times where I'm like, this is so stupid. And other times where I'm like kind of engaged in what's going on. I have a very strong prediction for what the ending's going to be. And I've had that throughout the whole way through. And if it comes true or is close to true, I think this is going to be really disappointing. I'll see how it goes and I will let you know how I feel when I finish it. Okay, I finished A Flicker in the Dark. I'm giving it 2.5 stars, but like, I think it's very similar in rating to The Paris Apartment, which I also gave 2.5, and I've been going back and forth as to which one to put higher in my ranking. I think it's going under The Paris Apartment. It didn't close out the way that I expected, but the way that it did close out, there were a lot of things that didn't necessarily make sense. And I don't know, it just was like kind of weird, the way that it all wrapped up. Not great, but much better than The Night Shift because there were, I don't know. So 2.5 stars. It is now, I read 6 and it is number 5 of those 6. That means I have 14 left to read, and I believe there are 15 days left before the winner is announced on December 8th. It's going to be intense. I'm going to start another one. I haven't decided if I want to start an audio or a physical. I probably should start a physical because I got a bunch from the library. But I will let you know what I start next and what's happening. But so far, besides The Maid, which I loved, these have not been very good. So I'm hoping for some good ones coming up. We'll see. Hello, happy Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving today. Though I'm doing my Thanksgiving celebration tomorrow. So today is just a reading day. But yesterday I was reading Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. And I am now this far through, and I haven't told you what it's about. So this book, it's kind of hard to say what it's about. The first part one, which is like this much, like it's the first little bit, is about this woman named Paris who is arrested for her husband's murder. When we start, like right in the thick of it, she's at the scene of the crime, like with her husband's dead body holding the murder weapon. But she's like, I didn't do it. Like, I just found him here. And so there's like the trial there. And then after that little bit, we switch to part two, where we have a completely different perspective. We've got this guy named Drew who is investigating a crime that happened to... It's complicated. Okay. There are some characters. There's a previous crime. We've got our past and present timelines, like most thrillers, like almost all of these have been. But we've got Paris in the present, on trial for her husband's murder, and we've got this thing that happened in the past with a murder and a fire that was presumed to be an accident. But this guy, Drew, is like, maybe it wasn't an accident. And somehow they will connect. Also, there's a gang thing. The gang thing is weird. Like, suddenly, like maybe we were in part two, so like this part far through, there suddenly was like a gang storyline, and I was like, this is very weird and out of nowhere, and also feels a little racist. The author is not a white man. This is Jennifer Hillier. And there are things in here that I would have been like, if it was written by a white man. But it's not, so I have hope that it's gonna like come around, you know? But we'll see. I am gonna finish it hopefully right now. I'm not very far from the end. So far I'm liking it. At about halfway there was a really good twist that I like really liked. And but this format of it is weird, that we like had part one from one perspective and then switched to a completely different, seemingly unrelated perspective. And that's fine if you like go back and forth between them. That feels kind of seamless. It's like two perspectives, but to have like part one and then part two, that was weird. And then part three, they come together. So there's definitely things that are weird, but I'm not disliking it. And I'm excited to finish it. Every clip in this video is just going to be me sitting on this couch, but that's okay. I finished Things We Do in the Dark, and it was weird. It wrapped up really fast. There were a lot of reveals that didn't feel very shocking in the end, that they were, I don't know, the way they were presented was like weird, and the gang stuff was weird, and the format was weird. But there were definitely things I liked about it. I'm going to give it 3 stars, which puts it 4th on the list between The Overnight Guest and The Paris Apartment. I think it wasn't bad. I would read something else by this author, because I think it wasn't the author's fault that I guess it was the author's fault. She wrote it, but there were things that were weird about it, as I have said. So 3 stars. The next one I'm going to start is Jackal by Erin E. Adams. This one I'm really excited for. I love this cover, and I'm excited. I think this one's going to be good. I think this one's a little shorter, maybe. Text is bigger. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. I have high hopes, and we are now 7 down out of 20. In a couple days we find out which ones are eliminated, and I'm worried that it's going to be all the ones that I've already read, so then I have to read 10 more, but we'll see. This one is also nominated for Best Debut, so this is a debut, and yeah, I'll let you know how it goes and what it's about once I'm a little bit of the way in. I am also reading, or I have started, I don't know, this is going to be confusing, what's it called? The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen on audio. And I'm not that far in. I think I'm like 25% of the way in. And it's about a therapist, because a lot of these are about therapists. It's about a therapist who lost her license. So she's like, she has this crazy, she calls it innovative, but like kind of maybe illegal method of therapy that she like, well, I get results, but she lost her license. And there's this couple that are having marital problems and they're going to her for advice. And that's kind of all that's happened so far. There has been no murder. It's like very domestic. I'm hoping something like crazy happens soon. But we will see. And I'm going to continue with that now. And I will update you when I have more thoughts. But Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen are really popular a thriller duo. So the other thing that's fun about this one is that it's set in DC, and I grew up right by DC. So there's all of these like locations mentioned that I'm like, oh, I've been there. It's always fun when you like have that experience. So yeah, I just finished The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. And I'm very torn as to how to rate this one, because I think generally, like in an objective sense, it was quite good. It just wasn't really for me. I thought it was really boring. It's a domestic thriller, which I guess I haven't really read one before, and I don't really like them. I want the like murder to happen straight away, you know? And really this was like just dealing with this couple's marital troubles, and I was like, I don't care. But I thought it wrapped up fairly well, and the characters were good, and so, I don't know, I just didn't like it very much. Like, my enjoyment wasn't very high for the vast majority of it. So I've decided I'm giving it 3 stars, and I'm putting it between The Overnight Guest and Things We Do in the Dark. So a high 3 stars. Yeah, that's it. That's that. I would recommend it to people who like domestic thrillers, but it wasn't for me. But I thought I think I'm getting kind of tired of thrillers, having read like 5 in a row. And so the way that they wrap up, the like twists at the end are like, okay. But I think that's me right now doing this challenge, not like in general. So I think like generally the way this wrapped up was pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what's next, but you will know in just a second. Jackal. I am about halfway through, and I'm really liking this one so far. I'm cautiously optimistic. So we start with like a little vignette of like 30 years ago, a girl going missing in the woods. It's like set in this really small town that's like very rural and like kind of in the woods. Girl goes missing at the very beginning, and then we go to this woman named Liz who has been living, like, she grew up in this small town, and then she lived in the city, and she's going back for her best friend's wedding. Also she's black, and her best friend who's getting married is white, and this is a primarily white town. She just was like one of the only black people that grew up there. And this happens like, well, it's in the synopsis, so I'm going to tell you. At the wedding, the friend who's getting married, the couple has a daughter who's like, I don't know, like 9 maybe, and she goes missing in the woods. The woman getting married is white, but her husband is black, so the kid is mixed. She goes missing, and Liz, our main character, was like the last person to see her. This is also on the synopsis. We find out there's like these little vignettes of in the past black girls going missing are like throughout. So there's this long history of black girls going missing in this small town in the woods. That's all in the synopsis, and that's all that's happened so far, and I'm halfway through. And I didn't read the synopsis beforehand because I often don't, and so all of that was like surprising to me. But if you do read the synopsis, or if you know anything about the book, you're gonna be like, why am I halfway through and nothing has happened? So there's that. I think like maybe don't read the synopsis, except I told you, so too late. But I'm hoping that things start like really happening. But I like the vibes, and having not read the synopsis, I did like the plot unfolding. And I think it's interesting. But yeah, this pretty good so far. Okay, ignore the spaghetti bubbling in the background. My update on Jackal, I'm almost done, is that I don't like it. I don't like it. I was liking it in the first half. And then when I realized, after I read the first half, I read the synopsis. And I realized that everything in the first half was in the synopsis, so really nothing happened. Or the synopsis was badly written, which is not Aaron E. Adams' fault, because I don't think authors usually write their synopses, but still. Like, and then nothing, since that halfway mark, nothing has really happened. So I'm just kind of bored, and like, I don't know, there keep being things that are like, dun, 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 and then it's not actually a reveal at all. So that's really frustrating. Yeah, I don't like it. That's it. Okay, in just a couple minutes, the top 10 is released. And I said that I wasn't going to read the ones that didn't make the top 10. And I'm really nervous. I've been nervous about this all day because I don't want to have to read 10 more books. I've read almost 9 because I'm almost done with Jackal. And I've read 8 others. So basically I've read 9 out of the 20. And if none of those make the top 10, I have to read 10 more books. And I don't think I can do that by December 8th. So I'm really nervous. We're going to look at it together. Let me refresh and see if it's there. I'm so... Final round begins in 0 minutes. Okay, I think I need to wait another minute. I really want to succeed in this challenge. And if I only have to read like 4 more books, I can do it. But if it's more than 4, I don't know if I can do it. I have a really busy week. This week got suddenly busier. Oh my God, it's 9 o'clock. There it is. Final round nominees. The Pair's Apartment, read. Book of Cold Cases, read. Killers of a Certain Age, I have not read, and that's one of the ones I don't have access to yet, but I think it's coming. Wrong Place, Wrong Time, I have not read, but it's on audio, so I can do that. The It Girl, I have not read. Flicker in the Dark, I have read. Daisy Darker, I have not read, but I have it. Same with The It Girl, I have it. The Maid, I have read. Bullet That Missed is on its way to me. All Good People Here, I have. So, out of the top 10, I've read 4, and I have 6 more to read. And only one of them is on audio. It's not impossible. I don't know if I'm even going to finish Jackal because it was eliminated. Well, I'm like 40 pages from the end. I can finish it so quick. So I should definitely finish it because I do want to know what happens, and I will give you my review. Okay. 6 more to read. In how many days? 10 days? With the week I have? I'm still going to try. Can't believe I read 5 whole books that I didn't end up having to read. And some of them were bad anyway. It's fine. Wow, a slightly different angle because I don't feel like sitting up. I did finish Jackal, and I'm giving it a very middle of the road 3 stars, which puts it right in the middle of my list between The Golden Couple and Things We Do in the Dark. Of course, it has been knocked off the list anyway, but I did finish it because I had only like 40 pages left. The ending was really weird. It was really weird, but also predictable. Like equal parts weird and predictable. And I see and appreciate what it was trying to do and what it was trying to say. I just don't really think it did it. You know, like I don't think it succeeded in what it was trying to do. And so, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to start All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. This is a shorter-ish one, I think, as long as the text isn't tiny. And, yeah, I'll let you know what I think. Hello, we've got another almost horizontal vlog update. I am reading All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. I am this far through. And apparently I had not heard of Ashley Flowers, but she's a true crime podcaster. I heard of her podcast, Crime Junkies. I just didn't know her name. But it's actually I'm liking it so far. It's very standard. The plot is your typical dual timeline, crime in the past, similar crime in the present. We're investigating. Our main character is a reporter, but she was also friends with the girl who was killed in the past. So she's got a personal angle or whatever. And she's trying to prove that these two crimes are connected. It's nothing like super special, but it's not bad, and it's reading really quickly and easily. So yeah, I mean, it has to have a good ending to be good, of course, but I'm optimistic. This one's actually, when I heard that the author was like a podcaster, I was nervous because that means like it got through to the Choice Awards based on name recognition, but it's actually not bad. So yeah, I'll let you know when I finish it. I am now super horizontal, but I finished it. Oh, it's right here. Can I grab it? All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers, and I actually really liked it. Like, it was basic. It was very basic, very tropey, but I really it didn't do anything wrong. It didn't irritate me ever. I thought it was like well written in a simple way, and it was easily very readable. I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I really liked this one. I'm going to give it 4 stars, which puts it in second place between The Maid and The Book of Cold Cases. And yeah, this one was not shockingly, but it was really good. I liked it a lot. And I'm going to go to bed because it is late and I have to get up early in the morning. I am about halfway through Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is a Agatha Christie and Then There Were None retelling-ish about a family who, 4 generations of this family who go to this basically remote island, for the great-grandmother's 80th birthday. And she's always said she's going to die when she's 80 because there was a fortune teller or something that told her she was going to die when she was 80. Anyway, so there's the will, and then there's 8 of them or 9 of them or 8 to 10 of them there, and they start dying one by one. And we don't know what's going on because no one can come onto the island or off the island, and it's 2004, there's no service or anything. The landline's been disconnected, the rope's been cut, and they can't get no one can get in or out of the island until morning, and so it all takes place over one night. It's pretty good so far. This is probably my favorite thriller trope, is the and then there were none situation. So I'm liking it so far. I think it's fun, and there's a poem element too, in the Agatha Christie, and I like that because the great-grandmother was a children's book author, and so it's a children's book rhyme. But I'm interested to see how it wraps up. There's an obvious answer that if it's that, I'm gonna be disappointed, but yeah, just checking in to say I am halfway through this and I'm hoping to finish it soon. Okay, it's very late and I'm very tired, but I finished Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars, but a high 3.5. So it's going into 3rd place behind All Good People Here and above The Book of Cold Cases. Yeah, it was good for the most part. I liked the ending. I thought that was clever. Some things kind of didn't make sense. There were a couple things that were I feel lines that were put in just to increase suspense that in retrospect didn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. But it was fun. It was a fun concept, and I thought the execution was pretty solid. So yeah, high 3.5 stars. And up next is probably The It Girl by Ruth Ware, unless I want to go for my audiobook, but I will let you know once I've started something else. Hello, same spot on the couch, different day. Pumpkin just moved the camera. Now he's messing with the mic. He's trying to eat things, as he does. And Pumpkin, away from, there we go. I am this far into The It Girl by Ruth Ware, and I haven't told you what it's about. So we have our main character, Hannah, is in the past, and we've got a past dual timeline, which most of these thrillers have had. In the past, she's a student at Oxford with her best friend April, and really early on that April ends up getting murdered in her first year at Oxford. And then you are in, maybe 15 years later, 10 years later, 15 probably. And Hannah is... Oh, hi, Pumpkin. Hannah is pregnant, and the guy who was convicted for April's murder has just died in prison. And Hannah's kind of wondering whether he actually was maybe innocent because this reporter gets involved. Anyway, that's what it's about. It's pretty good so far. I have no complaints really. It's very British. It's a fun setting. The Oxford setting is fun. Some of the present day stuff is kind of boring, but it's okay. It's not the best, not my favorite trope, but it's okay so far. Of course it really depends on the ending, but yeah, I'll let you know. I finished. I did not like the ending. I thought there was a couple characters actually that got off with a lot less than they deserved, I think. That were portrayed as completely innocent when they definitely weren't. And the killer's motive was kind of weak. It was okay, but I feel like it could have been set up better. But I did like it most of the way through. So I'm thinking it's kind of on par. I'm giving it a 3.5. It's kind of on par with the Book of Cold Cases. I can't quite decide whether it goes above or below the Book of Cold Cases. It doesn't feel like it was as good as Daisy Darker, so I guess below the Book of Cold Cases. That puts it at number 5, between the Book of Cold Cases and the Paris Apartment. That seems right. Yeah, Ruth Ware, you set up good and then you let me down, I'm afraid. It's currently the 5th of December, and the results, the winner is announced on the 8th, which is Thursday. Today is Monday, and I have one more book that I have in progress that I haven't introduced to you yet, but I will, and then 2 more to read after that. So next couple days are going to be very reading heavy, but that's okay. I do actually have the time, so yeah, I will be talking to you a lot in the next couple days. Okay. I have been listening to the audiobook of Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, and it's pretty darn good so far. It's really unique, which is, it's incredible because these are all so similar. We have a time travel plot line. So in the very beginning, we're following this woman who at the very beginning, her son commits a murder, and then the next day she wakes up and it's the previous day. So she's going back in time. And she, presumably she has to prevent the murder from happening or whatever and figure out what's going on. And I really like that premise. I really like the way the time travel stuff has been done. There is a plot line that I don't love, and I think the way that it wraps up may end up being something that I don't love if it goes the way it's going. But I am really liking the concept, and I think it's well written and pretty good, and I like our main character. Who's playing detective. She's this mom playing detective, and I like that. We also have another plot line with a cop that comes in, another perspective of a cop that comes in kind of late in, maybe 30% in, we get this second perspective, and that's kind of weird, but generally I'm liking it, so I'll let you know when I finish it. I'm hoping to finish it tonight. Okay, we finished Wrong Place, Wrong Time. It got, I liked it until about 50%, and then it got kind of boring. I'm giving this 3 stars. So currently it's between, in terms of the top 10, it's between the It Girl and the Paris Apartment. Yeah, this was okay. A really cool concept, blah execution. It also is the 7th of, oh, there's Pumpkin's foot. It is the 7th of December today, and the winners are announced tomorrow, and they haven't said what time. So I just am trying to finish 2 more books today. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you posted. Look at me, I'm sitting upright and not vlogging lying down. Yay, it's time for an update. As I said, I think I said this earlier, winners are announced tomorrow at an unknown time. I tried to @ them on Twitter because I'm desperate to know how much time I have left. I tried to @ them on Twitter and they were not helpful. But I am this far into, about almost halfway, into Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. This is about 4 women who in the 70s were recruited to join this organization that basically like kills Nazis and like other bad people. So they're like basically a squad of assassins. And they worked for this organization for 40 years and now they're retiring. They are on this retirement cruise and they find out that someone from their organization is there on the retirement cruise undercover to murder them. And so they have to like deal with that. So we have past timeline of when they were first being recruited to this organization in the 70s, and then we have the present when they're in their elderly time. That's why it's called Killers of a Certain Age. They're retired women running from being murdered. So it's okay. I think I would prefer it on audio, actually. A lot of thrillers I prefer to read with my eyeballs, but this one, just the way it's written, I think I would prefer it on audio. I'm finding it a little slow going, but it's all right. I'm interested. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Guys, I did something bad. It was on accident, I promise. I've not yet finished Killers of a Certain Age, and I still have the Bullet the Mist to read. And I was going to, even if the winners were announced before I finished those books, I was going to wait to see them until I finished, but I just refreshed the page. I had the page open saying winners will be announced on December 8th, and I was just wondering if they were going to give us a time for that. So I refreshed the page. It's not even December 8th yet. It is 9:32 p.m. on December 7th, and I refreshed the page, and since mystery thriller is one of the first categories, it was like on the page when I refreshed it. It's not even tomorrow yet. I'm not going to tell you though. I hate it because I was going to make predictions of what I thought would win, and I was right, but now I can't prove it. I'm not going to see what order all 10 of them are in. I just know until I'm done reading all 10. I just know the number 1 spot, and I'm really happy about what won, but okay, I'm gonna keep reading because I still, even though I'm technically late, I still am gonna finish this challenge. I'm gonna do it, okay? So I gotta get reading. I'm devastated. Hello, it is Friday, December 9th, and I have lots of updates for you. Firstly, yesterday, about midday afternoon, I finished Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Rayburn. This was good. It dragged at some points. There were parts that were kind of boring. I kind of wanted, like, a more exciting wrap-up, like, in terms of, I don't know. I guess it wasn't meant to be super, like, thrilling, I guess. It's more of like a cozy mystery thriller, I guess. I don't know, because, I don't know. I definitely appreciated the characters and the unique, like, plot. I just think it dragged at some points. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars and putting it between Daisy Darker and the Book of Cold Cases. So it's I have a lot of 3.5 stars, but it's on the higher end of my 3.5s. And then I went to start the final book, The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. And I realized, see what I thought, I used to think, and now I think, that's a sentence frame that we use in the classroom. Anyway, I used to think that The Bullet That Missed was the sequel to The Thursday Murder Club. And now I think, turns out, it is book 3 in the series, and there is a book 2 called The Man Who Died Twice, which now that I remember that title coming out, so now I'm like, oh, I should have known. And I have not read that second book, so I can't read the third book, and you know what? I don't want to. I'm so sick of this video. I am sick of it, so I'm not going to read the final book for this challenge, I'm afraid. But I read 9 of the top 10 and 14 of the top 20 in like 3 weeks, and I think that's pretty solid. So we are just gonna leave it there. And I'm going to wrap things up for you, and we're going to look at the winners. The number one winner I already know. I don't know how the rest of the top 10 shake out. First thing I want to talk about, though, is what I have learned about myself as a thriller reader from this challenge. The first thing is that I never want to read another thriller again. I'm kidding, but like, it'll be at least a month, probably 2, before I voluntarily pick up a mystery thriller because I'm so sick of them. They're just all so similar. In terms of tropes I love an isolated setting and then there were none vibe, like Daisy Darker. I think Daisy Darker could have been better, but like, it's number 3 on my list. It's a 3.5, but it's number 3 on my list, and honestly, I might bump it up to a 4, because I can't remember what I didn't like about it. So I thought that one was fun because of that trope I really like. I just like something unique because a lot of these were so similar. I liked the time travel elements in Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I'll talk about what I liked about The Maid because I realized that review's not in this video yet. That was my number 1. Tropes that I do not like in thrillers. Number 1 trope I hate is when the wrap up, like when the solution or like it all ends up being about drugs or organized crime. I think that's so boring. Like, I want it to be a personal murder and not just like about drugs. I also realized I don't like domestic thrillers where there's no murder. I prefer maximum murder in my thrillers. I also do not like therapist main characters. Apparently that's a trope because it was in 3 of these that I read. I don't like abusive well, of course I don't like abusive fathers. That's also not something I like to read about in my thrillers. Whether the father is abusive from the beginning or whether it's just like it turns out that the father was the murderer, not a fan of that trope. Also the like crime in the past being investigated by a journalist in the present as like new evidence comes to light or like a new crime is being committed is not a bad structure. I don't dislike that structure. It just was in so many of these. I feel like more than half of these had that structure. And I don't know. I feel like you can be a little more creative. I just like something unique, basically. And not predictable, but also like not completely out there, that like the groundwork is laid. I like to have several twists you can guess, and then one because of the things that were built up, and then one twist that's like, oh my god. So yeah, let's get into our ranking. Here is my top 14 out of the 20. So at the bottom we have The Night Shift with 1 star, followed by A Flicker in the Dark, 2.5 stars, followed by The Paris Apartment, 2.5 stars, which I realized the review for that is not in this video. You can go find it in my wrap-ups, but I just thought that it was boring and predictable, and I didn't like it. Followed by Things We Do in the Dark, 3 stars, followed by number 10, Jackal, 3 stars, number 9, Wrong Place, Wrong Time, 3 stars, number 8, The Golden Couple, 3 stars, number 7, The Overnight Guest, 3.5 stars, number 6, The It Girl, 3.5 stars. Number 5, The Book of Cold Cases, 3.5 stars. Number 4, Killers of a Certain Age, 3.5 stars. Number 3, Daisy Darker, 3.5 stars. Number 2, All Good People Here, 4 stars. And number 1, The Maid, 4.5 stars. I'm going to take a second to talk about The Maid because I didn't talk about it in this video, and it did end up being my number 1, and the one that I voted for in both rounds. The Maid I read months ago in like June or something. The characters are so fantastic. It's such a unique perspective. I think the reason it got 4.5 and not 5 is because I wanted that one more twist at the end that was not predictable. Like, I think the pieces lined up into place really well. The way it's written is that you know what's going on, but the main character doesn't because she doesn't see what's going on. And I thought that was really a really great structure. But I did want one more twist that not even the audience could see. And the characters and the relationships were just so strong. And it was just so like delightful. So I really liked that one. So that's the top 14. Here is the top 9 when the others, the 5 that were eliminated, the 5 that weren't in the top 10 are taken out. Here's the top 9. My top 9. Here's my top 9. We are now going to look at the Goodreads winner top 10 breakdown. We're going to look at them. I'm going to tell you them in order. They're going to pop up on the screen. You can compare my rankings to their rankings. I've seen what won. Oh, I didn't give predictions. My prediction, before I even look at this, my prediction that no one's going to believe because, well, okay, whatever. My prediction is that The Maid would win. It was my favorite. It was the one I saw had the most hype throughout the year. And I just think it was really, really good. It was a book of the month pick. A couple of these were book of the month picks, but this was the one that I just saw around BookTube the most. I think The It Girl is going to be pretty high. I think All Good People Here is going to be pretty high because the author is a podcaster, and I feel like people who don't often read, like who are true crime podcast people, may have read that and voted for it. I think The Pear's Apartment is going to be higher than I put it just because it's Lucy Foley. And A Flicker in the Dark is like one of the book of the month, book of the year picks, but I didn't like it. I thought it was bad. So those are the ones that I think are going to be on the higher end. Yeah, but my prediction, which I already know came true, is that The Maid is going to be number one. Okay, let's look at it. Number 10, with 24,227 votes, we have Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, which is tragic because I really like that one. I thought it was very good. That was my number 3. Oh, wow. Number 9 is All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. I thought that one would be higher. Number 8 is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. These are all really close, though. They're 24 or 25,000 votes. Number 7, Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Rayburn. Number 6, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Number 5, The Book of Cold Cases. Number 4, A Flicker in the Dark. Number 3, The Bullet That Missed. That's the one I didn't read. And then a huge jump in votes from 45,000 to 70,000. Number 2, we have The Pear's Apartment by Lucy Foley. And number 1, 78,000 votes, The Maid by Nita Prose. Take a look at this graphic that I am going to make. I'm surprised. I guess I'm not surprised that The Pear's Apartment is so high. I'm just surprised in the huge jump in 35,000 votes between number 2 and number 3. And I'm surprised that All Good People Here and The It Girl are so low. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm wrapping it up. I'm done with this challenge. So excited to read other things. Oh, okay. I hope you have enjoyed. This video is going to be hella long. There will be chapters. Well, you've already watched it, so thank you for watching. If you watched this whole thing, I really, really, really appreciate you. If you skipped around and just watched the end, I also appreciate you. If you're watching this, I appreciate you. Which ones would I recommend if you want a good thriller? I would recommend The Maid, absolutely. My top 3, I would recommend. And then if you're looking for a certain thing in a thriller, reach out and I probably have a recommendation. But The Maid, All Good People Here, and Daisy Darker are very solid thrillers. And I would recommend them. And even if you don't like thrillers, I think you would like The Maid because it's like cozier. It's not a thriller, really. It's a mystery. So, thank you for watching. I love ya. I think that you should like, comment, and subscribe for my efforts. This was really challenging. And I'm so glad it's over. So, time to edit this mammoth of a video. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.